Ladies and gentlemen,
Are you ready?
are you ready?
Are you ready?
WHIP.
Philadelphia.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Now, on Philadelphia's #1 college radio station, WHIP, Rational Radio.
What is up, iHeartRadio listeners, and welcome to another segment on WHIP, the #1 college radio station in the city of brotherly love. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon here on Temple campus, and we're excited. It's homecoming weekend, and we're about to be 5-0. How's everyone doing today? Doing good?
Hush, hush, don't jinx it. I'm doing
right.
good.
Yeah. I'm doing great. Yeah, leading into this weekend, going to be a busy weekend, a fun weekend, lots of festivities going on here on main campus for Temple homecoming. Yeah, should be fun.
Fun weekend, definitely planned for a lot of people.
Yeah. So lots going on in the news today.
Yeah, just jump right into it. North Korea in the news. U.S. intelligence has briefly just come out with a source saying that the North Koreans will likely be preparing some type of weapons test within the next week or so. And supposedly it's supposed to be a submarine-launched medium-range ballistic missile off their eastern coast, and it's just something that, North Korea might be doing, sources say. So it's just something that definitely needs to be on America's radar right now, seeing as though how crazy North Korea is and their motives and things like that, especially on America. So it's just definitely something that needs to be brought to the American public's attention, as well as just being on the lookout for anything that might happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is something that I think we've seen this before. I mean, that they've had different kind of, they've had the aspiration to build a nuclear weapon, and then they've also now have said that they are going to come out with tests. I mean, a lot of their strategy, they just like to amp up the rhetoric and just talk a lot.
Yeah, they're all talk.
But I think, definitely something that needs to be taken seriously. How do we go about dealing with them and their nuclear program? And they're further along than Iran is.
Oh yeah.
But
Yes, it's scary because North Korea does hate America, but at the same time, it's still North Korea.
The chances of this actually going successful doesn't seem too good.
Exactly, and
based on their history.
And I think the bigger threat in the area is China because North Korea is known allies with China, the whole communist thing.
Yeah.
I'm far more afraid of China than North Korea ever.
I'm also afraid of what China can do to us. How much we're in debt to them and things like that. They say give us our money, and we don't have it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's another issue that needs to be dealt with. But why haven't? Do you think that we should take steps to negotiate some sort of nuclear agreement with North Korea?
I think it would be good to do that. Will they agree to anything? I doubt it.
There's no negotiating with North Korea.
There's no negotiating with them. They.
So we think North Korea would be harder. The communists of North Korea would be harder to make a deal with than the hardline Islamic the clerics in Iran.
Different issues. They hate us for different reasons, but also North Korea. I think that we can make amends with the Middle East, but I think North Korea, no matter what we say, is just gonna say we don't like you.
I feel it's apples and oranges. Like Noah said, they have this. There's different reasons they hate us, and for some reason, there's just such a deep, pitted hate for us by the North Koreans that there's just nothing that will ever be. Nothing American can do will ever put us in their good graces. So, and that's the scary thing.
Yeah, because then what are we supposed to do? Are we just supposed to basically sit here and hope that they don't do anything.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. That's what scares me. Are we supposed to just sit thousands of miles away and watch their missiles and their tactical ability just go on the rise? Like that's what scares me. So that's why I feel like with this, that's why we need to spread awareness. Let people know that this is happening and that maybe there's something that our government can do. I don't know. But that to me, it's just scary that they're all going about this right now. And this article on CNN is saying that they're going to try to show some type of force, a show of force that they're going to try to display to the world. But my thing is, in their history, they don't have too much, force behind what they do, and most of the times their things just fail. I mean, a couple weeks ago, they had a picture of Kim Jong-un in front of a missile coming out of the water, and people thought it was them testing a missile, but it wasn't. It was just them of their ejection system out of the sub. So I'm sure that worried some people, but now this is supposedly supposed to be a real test.
Yeah, so I think it's just something interesting to look at, because we hear about these tests, and then like the U.S. they react and they put in missile defense systems up in Alaska and whatever, and then that just like encourages the North Koreans. They're like, oh, look at the Americans, they're like putting this into place, like, oh, we could hit you if we wanted to.
No,
but
they couldn't.
I don't know. I think I don't doubt that they have the capability.
I think they do. I think the general population that would be helping them make this technology is more focused on eating and getting clean water since they're still not quite there.
No, yeah, that's the thing. We keep putting like these sanctions on North Korea, and we just, they have a limited food supply in that country. Like there are people that are actually, like the people of North Korea are being hurt.
Oh yeah.
By this.
Yeah.
But the government is, they won't change anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough situation because you have China, where the U.S. is definitely. They're trying to ally with China, and trying to just improve the relations with China because they're a dominant Asian partner that the U.S. wants to have.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, you have China, who is allies with North Korea. And so if anything ever goes down between us and North Korea, we got to answer to China now, and this brings up, how much we're in debt to them and things like that. And it's just, foreign relations is just going to be a cluster of just awfulness. Yeah.
The commander of the North American Aerospace Defense Command says that should they be stupid enough, his words, to shoot us, we'll be ready. Wow, could I have stuttered a little bit more saying that?
No, I have confidence in American defense systems and also our offensive abilities. That's something that I still think that we are far ahead of a lot of countries in this world, and that's why we are a superpower, because of what we have in our arsenal to take out threats. I completely agree that we're ready. I think that if someone were to fire at us, the next weeks to come, it's just going to be like almost like a nuclear holocaust. It's just going to be. Yeah. It could be the end of the world. If one missile goes off, it's the domino effect. Everyone's going to start shooting.
I'd be shocked though if this works. If it either doesn't just not work at all, doesn't do anything, or B, doesn't backfire and explode in the North Koreans.
Yeah, this is
either or.
Yeah, this is going back to one country isn't going to nuke another country because it's mutually assured destruction. If North Korea nukes us, then we nuke them.
Yeah.
Then
clearly we're gonna win that battle.
Yeah. What do we have? We have enough nukes to like blow up the world 3 times.
Yeah,
I think it is something like that.
Yeah.
And then this brings us back to what Ronald Reagan's Star Wars system that he put in place to blow up the missiles during the Cold War.
And I'm sure that we have other top secret anti-defense or anti-missile things that us normal Americans have no clue what they are. So I mean,
oh no, I'm sure there's things in the works that we can't even begin to.
We have new age technology and things like that that's going to be able to shoot those things down within. I'm sure even when it comes within 1,000 miles of the United States.
Yeah, I mean they have radar all over the place.
I mean,
it's picking this stuff up. I don't know. It's just, I mean. People get like worked up about this stuff. Like they see, they're like, "Oh my gosh, North Korea is going to bomb the U.S." No, North Korea is not going to bomb the U.S. Like, come on, let's get real here. It's just they just like to say that so that they can, prove that they're a strong country or whatever. Mm-hmm. Prove to the people of North Korea that they're a strong country and make themselves look good in the face of those people. Because I mean, ultimately, that's just like, I mean, they only have one news outlet there that's like state run, and so they have one source of information coming into the country. So they hear, North Korea taking down the great evil America, and they say,
they think they're the best in the around.
Yeah, and
they have no connection to the outside world.
No, none at all.
No,
everything that they hear is from their government.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if I was receiving information from one spot and I hated someone else and I heard this, I would
100% agree with them and be like, yeah, we're North Korea, we're the best around, and so they're naive and I get it because they're only getting one source of information and that stinks for them, but that's what you get for living in North Korea.
I think about this every time the Olympics roll around. How shocking it must be for the North Korean athletes to go out and see the real world. Like when they were in London, how crazy would that have been?
That's actually good. That's actually a good point. I never actually thought about that.
Yeah, I never thought of that either.
It's just so it's a whole new world that's not in the 1970s anymore. And wow.
Yeah.
That must be a wild experience.
Because now all of a sudden you go from having one source of news, one source of information, having literally everything,
to going out and seeing Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, all this stuff, and they're just their jaws must drop every time they go out into the public world. I mean, they see newsstands and they're like, wow, they see the Washington Post, New York Times, all these big worldwide magazines, and they're just awestruck by it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's something else though, that culture. Honestly,
no, definitely. I honestly I couldn't imagine. That's why it's so great to live here in America. We have so many opportunities just to be free, and power to America. Power.
Yeah, and it's also scary. I'm pretty sure it was them. I could be wrong, but the North Korean team didn't do so well in the Olympics for soccer. And I think they the government sentenced all the players to a ton of community service and jail time, and the coach mysteriously went missing.
Well, I mean, you hear about American people who were in South Korea and mistakenly wander into North Korea, and then they're all of a sudden in labor camps, and then it becomes a huge diplomatic issue because the U.S. is trying to get these people out of North Korea, but of course the North Korean people won't, their government won't let them come back.
Yeah.
And then who are you supposed to use? China as a go-between? And I mean, then they're like, well, can you do this for us? And they're like, well, China, we don't know if we want to do this for you. Well, then we're not going to help you get your prisoners back. And then it's a whole, diplomatic fiasco that they have to deal with.
How are you about to mysteriously wander into North Korea?
I don't know.
It happened. I think there's a guy there right now who was in a labor camp in North Korea because he wandered into North Korea. I don't know how it happened. I don't know.
Why even be around that situation?
Yeah,
that's
my
question.
He wanted to see the demilitarized zone, the securest place in the world, something like that. I think that's true. But
it's definitely an interesting topic to talk about. So if you ever want to call in and hone in on what we're talking about, give it your own opinion. We're at 215-204-WHIP. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll be right back. But make sure you keep it locked on WHIP, the #1 college radio station in the city of brotherly love.
From the WHIP News Team, I'm Bianca Sorrentino, and it's time for your news now. Police are investigating the stabbing of 62-year-old local business owner Patrick Spinoza in Southwest Philadelphia. Police say that around 6 p.m. Thursday night at Southwest Auto Tags, a man came into the store with a knife. Spinoza was stabbed more than 20 times in the head and upper torso during the attempted robbery. He managed to call police and is in critical condition at Penn Presbyterian Medical Center. The suspect is still at large and was last seen on South 63rd Street. Police are searching for the suspect in the assault of a 34-year-old woman in Longcrest. Police say around 6 p.m. Thursday night, the woman was hit with a brick on the left side of her face. She is in stable condition at Einstein Medical Center. NBC correspondent Tamron Hall has been nominated to take Bill Cosby's seat on Temple University's Board of Trustees. Hall is a Temple alum and currently hosts the third hour of the Today Show. She will become Temple's fourth female board member. The board will officially vote on October 13th. For breaking news, follow us on Twitter at WHIP Radio and check out WHIPRadioTU.com. We'll see you in an hour with your news update.
My name is Tom Thornton.
And my name is Cindy Thornton. We've been married 38 years. We're retired, and this is how we live united.
We play golf and we travel, but we also decided we were going to give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
I do the nursing at the clinic.
I work the front office, checking in patients, greeting them, making them feel comfortable.
United Way is how we contribute because we know our time and money are going to the right places, the places that need it most and implement it best.
Judging by the thank yous we get at the clinic, I'd say we're doing the right thing with our retirement too.
We even get a few bless yous. It's incredible.
We're Tom and Cindy Thornton. We volunteer at our community free health clinic, so we don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest for RAD. Over 300 people in this country are killed every week by a drunk driver. That's the equivalent of 2 747 plane crashes every single week. And the problem isn't going away unless we all do our part to stop it. So if you see someone who's about to drive after drinking, get the keys. Don't leave it up to anyone else. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
My name is Tom Thornton.
And my name is Cindy Thornton. We've been married 38 years. We're retired, and this is how we live united.
We play golf and we travel, but we also decided we were going to give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
I do the nursing at the clinic.
I work the front office, checking in patients, greeting them, making them feel comfortable.
United Way is how we contribute because we know our time and money are going to the right places, the places that need it most and implement it best.
Judging by the thank yous we get at the clinic, I'd say we're doing the right thing with our retirement too.
We even get a few bless yous. It's incredible.
We're Tom and Cindy Thornton. We volunteer at our community free health clinic, so we don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, guys. You are listening to WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station, and you are currently listening to Rational Radio. We're about to move on to our next topic, actually.
Yeah, our next topic here, we are talking about Mayor Nutter is trying to put forward a bill that would eliminate the sale of cigarettes or tobacco products from all stores with pharmacies. So basically, according to this article on Philly.com, he said the goal here is to ultimately reduce cigarette use in the city. And Philadelphia has among the highest number of tobacco retailers per capita, and so they are hoping that this would help reduce the number of outlets by roughly 6%. And so CVS became the nation's first major chain to stop selling tobacco products, which took effect January 1. Which I think is...
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I mean, me personally, I think smoking is a disgusting habit. And I mean, also, it's costly, too. I mean... What, here in Philadelphia, it costs $7.80 to buy a pack of cigarettes. So let's say you smoke a pack a day. for 30 days, that's $234. I mean, that's a car payment. That's rent for some people, or at least close to a rent payment. So I mean, it's costly. It's awful for your health. I mean, it just deteriorates your lungs to nothing. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen pictures of like regular lungs compared to a smoker's lungs for 20 years. I mean, it's disgusting. And I mean, my brother's in med school right now, and he tells me stories of patients who come in, and everything can go wrong when you're a smoker. I mean, just everything. Recovery time, just health and everything. A lot of things just stem from smoking. So I mean, it's just an awful habit, and I'm all for this new bill.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it'll ultimately reduce smoking.
No, it won't.
In
but
the city,
at least it's trying to do something about it.
Yeah, the thing I like though is, like, you know, you have a pharmacy, you have a wellness center in the store that's trying to make people healthy.
Yeah.
But yet, right next to them, you have cigarettes being sold. So it's just a complete contradiction. I'm
yeah, no, and we're making big strides towards becoming more and more cigarette free. As a country, I remember being a little kid and like people could smoke. I don't know if they could here. When we lived in Missouri, people could smoke in restaurants. Was that a thing here?
When was that? I don't recall when that was banned.
I remember being a kid and you would have to say like non-smoking section, please. But like it didn't help because
I remember that too.
Yeah, I do.
And I remember hotel rooms like having to be
hotel room
non-smoking.
smoking.
I think you still have to say that
for
hotel rooms.
I think that's still an option actually.
But just like as a country, we're making moves towards being less I guess smoker.
Yeah, less smoker friendly.
But it's strange out here being at college and seeing how many people smoke.
Oh, it's gross.
Like when you walk in a building, you walk through a haze.
Yeah.
Because everyone's just outside smoking.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, I smoke a cigar from time to time. But even that, like I personally don't like doing it. I do it for special occasions, things like that, family members, parties, things like that. But it's just like I can't fathom, you know, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Like it grosses me out. I hate the smell of it. And I mean, it's funny how over 100 years, I mean, smoking cigarettes when they first came out were actually approved by doctors and seen as something that was healthy to do. And now, you know, then they started banning cigarette commercials back in the 70s and 80s and things like that. And then it's just funny how we've come a complete 180 in 50 years of how medical advances and the research that has contributed to the banning of cigarettes and, you know, the Surgeon General's warnings and things like that. So I think it's comical really how 70, 80 years ago this was seen as a healthy thing to do for your body, and now we've learned that it's the complete opposite.
It's weird to me that people can smoke on college campus or on our college campus in particular. Like I feel like it's not fair to the people who have to walk to their class and are constantly inhaling that smoke.
Yeah.
The secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, and the city has tried to do stuff about that where they put laws where you can't smoke like 20 feet from like the entrance of like a building.
Yeah,
so
that's how it is here too. You can't smoke within 20 feet of an entrance, but like still 20 feet, like you're going to walk through. Like, I know I live in 1300 and we have the walkway in, and it's like a very narrow like hallway to get in. And
you're like swimming through the smoke.
Even if you're 20 feet away, like you're still gonna have to walk through the haze. So, but we've made huge strides because I remember being a kid and my father telling me that when he went to high school, they had smoking areas in his high school.
Really?
My dad used to tell me the same thing.
And my father's only 52 years old, so like very recently.
Yeah, I mean, in the 80s, my dad graduated in 86, and he said, we went to the same high school that I did, actually, and he said kids would always be, you know, going to the bathroom, sneaking a cigarette or something like that. And he didn't smoke, but he said that kids, they had like a secret knock. When kids were smoking in the bathroom, they had a secret knock to let people know that it wasn't a teacher coming in, that it was just another student. So like they would open the door really quickly and then slam it shut, and that was the signal that it's just a student coming in, so don't worry about it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think this will be, I mean, because ultimately what I think this is trying to do is trying to get people to stop smoking, right? And so Philadelphia, when they passed a $2 tax on cigarettes to try and fund the schools, I mean, I think, their thinking is, we'll just, if we make cigarettes really expensive,
we'll get either people to quit, or we're going to get a good amount of money to help fund the school. So it's kind of like a win-win.
Right. If you make a pack of cigarettes $20.
Oh, yeah.
I mean it's hard because it is an addiction, and people are addicted to this, and it's awful, and it's awful to get started, but then as an addiction, so people are going to go to the lengths to go out of the city or pay the extra money to do it. So I see it as the city is trying to do something, but also at the same time, like, they're just going to make a lot of money, and I don't think it's really going to cut down on the amount of smokers.
Yeah, I think so. Right now, there are a lot of people that, I mean, you can take the Market Frankford line all the way into 69th Street Terminal in Upper Darby and Upper Darby, Delaware County, you can then buy cigarettes without the $2 tax on them. And so there are people that will go, I mean, Upper Darby just right outside the city limits, and you can buy cigarettes for $2 cheaper. And it costs you like a token or two tokens, depending on wherever you're coming from. And so, I mean, then I'm great for those businesses because now they have an influx of people there. But I mean, I've sat on the subway before, and there are people walking up and down the aisle selling packs of cigarettes for $5.
Really?
And
I haven't seen that before.
So, and like they're thinking, right, they'll just buy, a bunch of cigarettes and just sell them because they know people will buy. I mean, people want. Oh wow, it's not $7.
It saves them money. It saves them the trip from going somewhere to get them. But especially here on campus, I've been seeing people like reverting to more of e-cigarettes and vaporizers and things like that. So it's taking away the almost carcinogen effect of cigarettes, but they're still getting their nicotine. So, I mean, that's definitely a new era thing that's coming around. So, I wonder if then there's going to start having certain tax on vaping and e-cigarettes and things like that. But also, like, now that Philly is proposing this new bill or law that to ban smoking or selling of cigarettes in these pharmaceutical areas, where are they going to get this money that they're losing from getting the taxes in these pharmaceutical areas? I mean, I guess they're going to just be getting it more from places that don't have a pharmacy.
Like a 7-Eleven or a Sunoco or whatever.
Or something like that.
And I think ultimately, I mean, people are still going to buy cigarettes. But I think it's interesting, though, to look at the concept of e-cigarettes because, I mean, there are a lot of people that say that they're like so much better for you if you're trying to like quit smoking or whatever. But I mean, they still have. I mean, there's still nicotine in them. I mean, like it's not like it's all of a sudden just like this like magical thing that you think like you're smoking, but you're actually not. I mean, because when I first heard about them, I thought that it was just like water vapor, like you heated water vapor up really high and then you just blew out like the steam from it. But now there's I know that there's actually like liquid nicotine inside of them.
And like I know a couple kids who are about the vape lifestyle, and it's funny, like they have these different types of levels of nicotine. So you can get one that has a lot of high nicotine, and then you can wean yourself down to a very minimal amount, and it helps you quit smoking. But actually, they do like flavors. Any flavor under the sun, and it smells so good. It smells amazing.
Right. And see, this is the problem. If you're trying to get people to quit smoking, why are you giving them like strawberry shortcake flavoring?
My one friend the other day, he had it, and he had Lucky Charm marshmallow flavored vape, and he was blowing it outside, and I was like, wow, that smells delicious. Like I want a bowl of cereal right now. Like, and he told me like when he went to the vape shop that they had all these like breakdowns of like so many like different levels, and I'm like, wow, that's actually impressive. And you're right, like if you want to get people to quit smoking, I mean, why are they giving these amazing flavors that are just telling people, like even me, a non-vapor, who's just like, wow, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's sending the wrong message here.
Yeah, and I think it actually makes it a little bit more dangerous, right? Because you talk about, have a flavor like Lucky Charms, right? Well, then what happens to the kids who are like 14 years old who are like,
exactly,
I love Lucky Charms.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to want to try this, right? Then you have a 14-year-old kid that's inhaling some sort of nicotine content.
And I don't know if there's an age restriction on buying nicotine juice.
I don't think there is, but I think there are places that are coming out with laws saying that. I think New York being one of them. I think there is an age restriction as to when you can buy.
And I'm pretty sure each individual company, each individual like where you're buying them, like gas stations or whatever, will set restrictions on it, or like put it with the things that are restricted.
Okay, all right, well that's good.
But I know that you can go to e-cigarette bars, and like you can pay and try all these different. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. You're like, oh yeah, I think I'll have a blueberry today, and they're like, but I'm really trying to quit smoking, but I'll stay here for 3 hours, and then I'll try maybe some pineapple or something like that. And
another big rage nowadays is smoking hookah, which used to be a cultural thing for a lot of Middle Eastern cultures and things like that, but now it's becoming more of a pastime for people. I was walking past the little grass area by J&H the other day, and some kid just had his hookah out just by himself. Yeah. And the 1 hour of smoking hookah is equivalent to 100 cigarettes. So
wow.
Yeah.
So that's we're talking about a really high.
Yeah. Hookah is a very potent tobacco product. So I mean, and people just do. I mean, there's hookah lounges in cities, and I mean, there's one out near me in Bethlehem, where I'm from, and people go to it and they'll sit around, even if you're not smoking it, just how much smoke that comes out of these things and the secondhand smoke so just even sitting in there, I'm sure you're doing damage to your lungs. So I mean, this is definitely something that needs to be addressed more formally. I mean, people just don't understand what they're actually doing to themselves.
They were even selling the hookah, the little fairs that they have on Wednesdays in by the bell tower.
Oh yeah.
They had an Amazon student table, and Master's Bar had a table, and then there was a full giant hookah that they were just passing around on one of the tables. I watched three girls strange. Go up and take some hookah and then leave, and
that's nuts.
Very bizarre.
I don't know what to.
Well, we have that
in my residence hall. Actually, in front of the elevator, there is a sign that is advertising a hookah bar.
Really?
Yeah. Now that I think about it, there is because I saw it the other day and I was like, is this someone being funny or something? And I looked at it and I was like, no, this is an actual thing. It's like a flyer. Come see us. And that's something that's kind of just started to become popular. I feel like that's a recent thing. It's where a lot more people are doing it.
Yeah. There's actually a company that came. One of Welcome Weeks of school, I forget the name of it, but they cater to kids who need hookah products and things parts for their vaporizers. So if your vape breaks or you need more tobacco for your hookah, they will come and they will deliver it to you for a relatively cheap price. I checked out their site and stuff. Yeah, it's nuts, and they'll also bring you snacks. They're pretty much like a convenience store on the go is what their catchphrase was or whatever. But yeah, it was crazy how deep this is in modern culture now and in popular culture, and how people really enjoy doing this. They enjoy destroying their lungs, really, is what's going on.
Yeah, ultimately. So yeah, we'll see how this pans out, see if it passes city council and if Mayor Nutter is able to implement this in Philadelphia and the effect that it has on smoking here. So we're going to take a quick break, but keep it tuned here to Rational Radio on WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. We have a lot more to talk about on this Friday afternoon.
It's half past the top of the hour, and here's your WHIP Sports Update.
I'm Tom Hanslin, and this report is brought to you by iHeartRadio. Download the app for free on your smartphone or tablet to instantly gain full access to your favorite music, sports, and entertainment. Well, the Temple Football Owls are looking to improve to 5-0 this Saturday at the Link against conference rival Tulane. Here's senior Tyler Medikevich.
The conference play is what really matters the most. Don't get me wrong, a win's a win, but the conference just definitely gets you a little more excited. I mean, we just can't wait to get back in the Link and just get that environment and get everyone a W.
And we will have full coverage here on WHIP, starting with the pregame at 11:30, and then Zach Gelb and Mike Zahn bring you the play-by-play with kickoff at noon. Yesterday marked the first time that all four road playoff teams won Game 1 since 1970 as the Rangers topped the Blue Jays 5-3 David Price is now 0-6 in his postseason career. The Astros also won 5-2 over the Royals, and all 4 series take place starting at 12:30 today, while the NLDS begins at 6:30 between the Cubs and Cardinals, and at 9:30 with the Dodgers hosting the Mets. On the ice, the Flyers took part in the first 3-on-3 overtime game in history, but fell to the Lightning 3-2 in their opener, and the Colts defeated the Texans 27-20 in Thursday Night Football. It's 72 degrees and mostly sunny in Center City, and that's what's happening. With reports half past the hour, this is Tom Hanslin, WHIP Sports, your home for the main event weekdays 11 to noon, and the Temple Sports Hour from noon to 1.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. Other groundbreaking ideas from that time: the whalebone corset, the pedal-operated submarine, and the 2-story outhouse. We've come a long way since then. It's time our light bulbs did the same. Visit EnergySavers.gov and learn about energy-saving light bulbs. See, these new bulbs are more efficient than the old ones, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. They last longer, too, like how we humans last longer now that doctors use antibiotics instead of leeches. And they cut down on our energy costs, because in our own groundbreaking age of aeroplanes and moving pictures, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Can you tell if these vegetables are being contaminated with bacteria that could cause paralysis? Listen. Can't, can you? You can't see it either. Use different cutting boards so that the bacteria in raw meats and seafood and their juices doesn't touch prep surfaces for other foods, like veggies. Raw food may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year, and roughly 3,000 will die. But you can keep your family safer by separating raw meats and seafood from other foods. Learn more about this and other important information. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. That's foodsafety.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Nicole from Chew in the Morning on Mix 106, and you're listening to WHIP.
What is up, iHeartRadio listeners, and welcome back to Rational Radio. So, Ryan, let's take it to the stocks. How's my money looking? Is my pocket full today, or is it empty?
As of right now, your pocket should be pretty full.
Nice.
The S&P 500 has been down most of the day, but just as we are looking at Yahoo Finance, they are up 1 point.
All right.
Dow Jones up about 28, and the NASDAQ up almost 18. So,
slow and steady wins the race.
That's right. So, just the on the headlines on Yahoo Finance, Tesla was downgraded, but United, Continental, and American Airlines rose. And the Fed is still planning to raise interest rates this year, but they are not committed to anything. And oil remains mostly flat after U.S. rig count drops for 6 weeks. So U.S. has less rigs that are mining for oil. So that's that. But that's how your money is looking as of 3:41 on this Friday afternoon. So so now we're getting into something a little bit more serious.
Yep. Definitely something that I'm sure a lot of people have opinions on. So if you want to call in, 215-204-WHIP. Yesterday, another campus shooting in Northern Arizona University had a confrontation between students last night in a parking lot, and one student decided to pull out a gun and shoot 4 other students. 1 died, and 3 are now in a hospital in Arizona trying to recover. and this is what the third time in a 2-week span. There was Oregon, then there was this shooting now, and then at Philly Community College there was a gunman the other day. So this is the third time. This is becoming too much of a commonplace, and it's really starting to worry me.
So I applied to Northern Arizona University. It was my second choice school. I was going there if I didn't end up going here. So it's really terrifying to actually hear.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of friends from high school that go there.
Have you been in contact with any of them?
Yeah, I've heard from them on Facebook. Basically, what I've heard is it wasn't like the guy walked into a classroom or anything. Like it was like a closed conflict. It wasn't. It's like.
Yeah,
okay.
Apparently the shooter is cooperating with police and things of that nature, but I mean he's still a killer. He murdered somebody.
Exactly. And it was my mom was like, "Oh, like you're choosing like a very dangerous school," and like my second choice school, Northern Arizona, is where they actually got the where the issue happened. But yeah, no, it's just scary to think about. Like I could have been there. Like I was very close to going to that school.
It brings it home a little bit.
Yeah. So there was this. Opinion piece posted on the Washington Post by Charles Krauthammer, who is frequently seen on Fox News talking with Bill O'Reilly, saying basically that there has been another school shooting, and so now we'll continue the talk about putting forward more gun safety laws. And in this piece, he says, President Obama, within hours after the Oregon shooting, he went and said that we need more common sense gun safety laws, and that basically Charles Krauthammer in this article says that his message was totally sincere, totally knee-jerk, and totally pointless. At the time he delivers it, he and we know practically nothing about the shooter, nothing about the weapons, nothing about how they were obtained. And then he goes on to say something very interesting. Nor does Obama propose any legislation he knows none would pass.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what is his plan? What does he just want to outlaw guns in general? Is that what he wants to do? Does he want us to be like the UK?
I mean, ideally, I think, yeah. I mean, yes, I do think that he wants that. Yeah,
I don't get it. We here in America, we've had this sense of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, for 200 plus years now, and I mean that was probably one of the cornerstones of our country because we are a free people and we want to have our guns. And no matter what, people are going to own guns, even if we outlaw them or not. People are going to own guns.
So the thing with completely outlawing guns, I mean, then that just
opens up.
Right. First of all, outlawing means we are creating a law that makes possessing any sort of gun illegal, which now means people are turning to illegal methods to obtain a gun. So now we actually, by trying to reduce crime, now we have more crime because everybody who is now going to have a gun that's breaking the law.
The black market's always going to be there.
The black market's always going to be there. Here, on Wednesday. My bad. On Wednesday, we were just talking about how the federal prisons are working at 40% overcapacity. We outlaw guns, we're going to be over at 80% overcapacity or 100% overcapacity because pretty much everyone. My father would be in jail. My uncles would be in jail. I mean, it's a basic right to own a gun, and it's just astronomically out there why he would want to do this. It's just I just don't understand the whole gun thing. Why is it so wrong? Why is it so bad to own a gun? If you have the proper identification, you've gone through the proper background checks, you don't have a criminal record, you don't have a mental disability or a mental record that says that you can lash out or you have bipolar disorder, depression, or anything like that, I believe that you should be able to own a gun, period.
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier in the week when I was talking about the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, which was signed into law by President Clinton. We were talking about some of the provisions that are in that law that are saying, it defines who cannot have a gun, who can have a gun, who can't have a gun. And so when people come up here and say that we need new gun legislation, what if we enforce the gun legislation that we have? According to this law, convicted felon can't have a gun. If you use or are addicted to any controlled substance that is illegal, illegal use of a controlled substance, you are not allowed to have a gun. If you have been adjudicated as mental defective or committed to a mental institution, or if you're illegally in the United States, and then it goes on to name a bunch of other things. So
do we know if this guy obtained the gun legally, or?
I don't think the article on CNN says anything about the how the gun was obtained.
Right.
So that's up in the air.
And obviously, like, this is, I mean, it's hard because this is an isolated incident, but every one of these school shootings is an isolated incident, and then they're not isolated anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's a problem.
Public. Yeah.
So.
And also now we have kids scared to go to school. Like, that's a huge issue. People have a right to get an education without fearing for their lives. It's just
yeah. So how do we balance that? I mean, we look at a college.
But I mean, what's the difference between, okay, so yeah, we have a shooting, so people are scared to come out of their dorms because they're shooting. So we outlaw guns. People are still going to try to do something to prevent mass destruction, whether it's driving a car down. If someone drove a car down Leocourse Walk, they could take out 30 people no matter what. So there's always going to be forms of terror.
Oh, there's always going to be forms of violence.
Yeah. So there's always going to be, people are going to find ways, even if we outlaw guns, and let's just say guns are just taken away somehow, all guns just magically disappear. People are still going to find ways to create mass destruction. So guns aren't an issue. It's just mass destruction that's the issue, and how people use their methods to cause this mass destruction. So I mean, there's really nothing. I mean, there's always going to be a sense of fear in kids going to school with even domestic terrorist attacks. So I mean, I don't see why guns are the problem for danger and violence. There's other methods too.
Yeah, I mean, I you're right. I mean, I don't know what it accomplishes other than, you know, making law-abiding citizens who have a gun now criminals. I mean, what more gun control do we need? I mean, like,
yeah,
what?
I would say maybe a psych evaluation.
That's what I think.
I think a psych evaluation would be good. I think also one thing that maybe would be a good thing is having a urine sample sent in somewhere, maybe once a month, if you have a valid permit and you have the right to carry, or an ID to carry, or a permit to carry is called. I think a urine sample maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months would. I'm sure a bunch of people would be opposed to that. But I think that's something that could help. So I think the background checks are good. I think the process to do that is very thorough and good. I think that a psych evaluation should definitely go into the picture, and I think a urine sample maybe once every 2 months would suffice. But other than that, I don't see the need for any other type of legislation or limits on buying a gun.
I agree. I think what we really need is to enforce the laws we have, because we don't really know how the laws we have work yet, because we haven't been doing so hot on limiting weapons to especially known abusers and things like that.
Yeah.
I also think, personally, I think the whole buying guns at a gun show and trading and things like that, I think if you're going to buy a weapon, I think you should have to do it obviously these things are legal now, but I think you should have to do it through a licensed weapon dealer or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and so Charles Krauthammer, in the end of his opinion piece, he said, in the final quarter of his presidency, Obama can very well say what he wants. If he believes in Australian-style confiscation, i.e. abolishing the Second Amendment, why not spell it out? Until he does, he should stop demonizing people for not doing what he won't even propose.
Yeah, so he needs to stop. You know, I saw in English class, my professor pulled up the video of Obama giving the speech after the Oregon shooting, and he said a lot of people don't want him to politicize this whole thing and rather have just the memory of the people whose lives were lost and memorialize them. But in his speech, he stood up and said, you know, people, I'm going to take criticism for this, that people think I'm going to politicize this, but it is something that we need to politicize. What do we need to politicize? Listen, if you want to politicize something, politicize the fact that this guy was completely insane and mass murdered 13 people. That's what you need to politicize. You need to get out and have like psych evaluations for these people who are buying guns. The gun itself didn't kill the person. It's the guy who pulled the trigger who killed the people. That gun wouldn't have fired if he wouldn't have pulled the trigger. And that's my big thing. Guns don't kill people unless you pull the trigger. So it's the people behind the gun that need to be started and taken care of, not the gun itself.
All right, now you'll have people on the other side that say, okay, everybody needs to give up with the people don't kill people argument. They're like, look at this. Look at how many shootings we've had where there have been people with guns. Why don't we just take away all the guns?
But on the other side of that, we're not looking at all the instances where guns haven't killed people because people have used them correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean that's the other side of the argument. I'm a big fan of when you go and apply to get a gun. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask someone to do one gun safety course.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So you know the
completely agree with
basics
that.
on how to use the gun, what to do if you use the gun in an emergency, and what the laws are in that state concerning self-defense and where you can and cannot have a firearm, like schools and some public places.
Do you have to take a test to get a gun license, or do you just apply for it?
No, you just apply for it through like your county sheriff.
Yeah.
And then they do the background checks on you.
Yeah.
And then
I
send
wasn't
it
sure
back.
if there was a small test involved or anything like that.
But I know there are places that are starting to mandate like a gun safety course.
Well, that's
and
good.
they're offering gun safety courses like as a recommendation.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, if you have a gun, you should be able to know, you should know how to use it.
Oh, yeah, of
aside
course.
from just knowing, I know how to pull the trigger and then it fires.
Yeah.
Because then you hear instances of people who have a gun legally, but then some accident happens.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the range with my dad or my uncle, and we've had misfires, and how you have to properly extract the bullet from the chamber and things like that. So I mean, even my uncle who's been shooting since he was 8 years old. I mean, he has encounters where he has to very safely put the gun down, make sure everyone's away from it. I mean, no matter your experience, there's always going to be an issue. I mean, it is a piece of machinery. Machinery fails all the time. Nothing's perfect. So you have to have this proper safety knowledge to take care of these issues. So yeah, I think I agree with these places that are mandating at least, or either mandating or strongly suggesting you take a safety course before you take this gun home.
And what do we think? What do we think about the people? Do we think that it's when people after these tragedies happen that it is just kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to say ban all guns?
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean,
because of what happened. I mean,
you're mad and you want justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then everybody talks about it on end. And then it becomes like this is what needs to be done.
Yeah, and in a month's time, this is all gonna dissipate. Everything's gonna slow down. But then I hope it doesn't happen. But something's gonna happen again with the gun, and this is all gonna be brought up again. It's just a cycle. It comes up.
And that's what Charles Kruthammer is saying. He says it's a cycle. He says there's a cycle of poverty, the cycle of violence, and then there's a cycle of gun talk. It starts with a mass shooting.
Yeah.
And then gun control advocates blame the deaths on gun control opponents.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad what happens to these people.
Absolutely.
It's awful what's happened to these people. But.
And us saying that we don't need any more legislation isn't us saying that we don't care.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. In my case, if I was, God forbid, knock on wood, hope this never happens to me, but if I was gunned down in a mass shooting, I know that I wouldn't want guns to be taken away from people. Listen, I know the bullet may have killed me, but I know it's the person behind the gun who killed me, and he's the one who deserves to be sent to jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
It's not the gun. What are we going to punish a gun? It's an object. We're going to tell the gun to go sit in a corner and think about what he's done? I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I mean, it's the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, because for the.
They're lashing out. They're lashing out.
And I mean, rightfully so.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, I completely get it. I completely understand it, but they have to step back and think logically for a second.
Right.
Put emotion aside and think what our country was based on and how they would feel and just the negative side effects if we outlaw guns, because everyone's going to become a criminal then.
Yeah.
A good percentage of America is going to become a criminal.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's not just that. I mean, the media has a play in it too because
the media
they'll
just
play,
hypes it everything
they'll
up.
talk it on end, 24-hour news cycle, and then that'll be that. So I don't know, but some good conversation today for a Friday.
Good show. Good show.
Yeah, so we hope you'll join us again here on Rational Radio on Monday from 3 to 4
Yep,
on
we'll be here.
WHIP Radio, Philly's #1 college radio station. Have a great weekend.